Hey, yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The False Nine. This is episode 112, coming to you from B&V Studios on the Halifax waterfront here in Halifax, Nova Scotia. I'm Mike Vesey, as usual, joined alongside by the homie Neil Jordan. What up, Neil?
Shout out to Woody the Talking Christmas Tree, if you can see on the YouTube video. You will see pictures of it. Woody Talking Christmas Tree, Nova Scotia, East Coast Canada staple. Florida was talking shit about him. Florida, relax. You're Florida. 2 words, bath salts. That's all I got to say. But anyway, yeah, man, getting in the holiday spirit. It's weird watching a World Cup during the Christmas holidays, but here we are. But it's been a hell of a World Cup. Is this the best group stage that we've ever seen?
We're going to get into it right now. I mean, welcome to our World Cup group stage and knockout stage look ahead, brought to you by Boxing Rock. Make sure you check out the BNV YouTube channel.
Yes, sir.
And we are going to get into it. Just a little taste of what you're going to get into on today's pod. We're going to go group by group, do a little roundup of what we saw, some of the best and worst of each group, some of the best players, best teams, best performances. We'll go a little deep dive on our Canadian lads who exited the tournament after the group stage. But great to see us back on the world stage. And we'll look at a quick look at the group stages, group knockout matches so far.
Yep.
We are 3/4 of the way through the round of 16 on recording day today. We just had the Brazil-South Korea game wrap.
Yep.
The Samba boys dancing on cats
Yes,
today.
they were.
We'll get into some of that, and we'll get into some predictions going forward. And then just a few news and notes at the end. So let's get into it, kicking it off with Group A, which saw the Netherlands, Senegal, Ecuador, and Qatar, the hosts, 0-3 with a -6 goal difference. So we don't have much to say about them cats.
No, they played with. Listen, I honestly, like, they were trying real hard. They're just not very good. And I mean, I say this as someone whose national team lost all 3 games as well, but we beat them by 1 goal difference. So I'll take it. And we didn't get embarrassed.
So the story in this group, the Dutch topping the group, as would have been expected heading in. My player of the group, Cody Gakpo.
Yeah, man. God, you can't really say anything about him, like driving that future Manchester United star, Cody Gakpo.
If you believe the rumors, they are in the lead for his services will cost possibly triple figures.
No, I mean, we might have to wait until after the break to get him. But I mean, he's just been so good. Like, he comes in off the wing. Apparently, the goal is that they are going to turn him into a pure number 9. As of right now, it looks like he kind of plays the same position that, like, Marcus Rashford plays. He likes to play out on the left and, like, kind of drift in, but you know what? That's a good problem to have. And also, too, with Anthony Martial's injury history, we need all the backup that we can in that position, but he has been awesome in this tournament.
Yeah, I think 3 goals in his first 4 games. Looks like an all-around forward. As you said, tall drink of water,
Yep.
drifts along that front line, can run beyond the defense, can finish with both feet, can finish in the air. Good running with the ball as well.
Yep.
Just looks like a world-class player. Kind of hidden away at PSV right now, having a great season in the Dutch Eredivisie. But, you know, this is the first time I've really gotten to see him in extended minutes, and I've been extremely impressed.
Oh, they were talking about him coming into the World Cup. I'm like, yeah, I'm sure he's fine. It's another Dutch player. I'm sure that he's great. But this is the first time that I've gotten to lay eyes on him, too. And, like, he is the real deal. I also want to give a shout out to effervescent Daley Blind, who was awesome in the last group game against Ecuador.
Yeah, they drew Ecuador.
But, like, he was, or no, it wasn't the Ecuador win. It may have been against Qatar, but he has been, you know, he's evergreen, man. They put him in positions. Louis van Gaal is very good at putting him in positions where his lack of pace won't get isolated. And Daley Blind's just a smart player, so he knows not to get himself into those positions. But, you know, I think Van Dijk has played better than we've seen Liverpool Van Dijk. Nathan Ake's been actually kind of awesome. Like,
very good at the back, them so far. I wanted to shout out Senegal in this group as well. I mean, they lost to Netherlands in the kickoff game, but controlled that match up until about the 75th minute.
Yeah.
It took 2 late goals from the Netherlands, including a beauty from Gakpo.
Yep.
But I thought, Senegal, obviously missing their talismanic striker, world-class Sadio Mane to injury, but lots of quality along that front line too. I thought Boulaye Dia
Dia's been great.
has looked fantastic as their number 9. He's running out for Salernitana in Serie A this season. I thought he was excellent for them. They have so many good holding midfielders.
Right.
Idrissa Gueye, Cheku Kouyaté, Pate Ciss.
When Cease came in for who was it? Who was suspended for the last?
I think it was Idrissa Gueye.
Idrissa Gueye. Cease, he was great, like in that role
I
too.
think he's at Rayo Vallecano.
Yes. Yeah.
And they're outperforming expectations in Spain, and he's been great for them.
Yeah.
So Senegal finishing second and going through after a victory over Ecuador. That was the deciding fixture as we predicted.
Yes, you did.
We did. I think we both got this one right.
Oh, I was definitely riding your. I was definitely fading your picks.
So that was the story in Group A as Netherlands and Senegal went through to the round of 16. Ecuador, a good showing. Want to shout out Ener Valencia.
Ener Valencia, yes. This is probably going to be his last World Cup, I would think.
Probably his swan song. Playing injured as well, and still, I think, scoring 3 goals in the group stage.
He scored 3 goals, and the other goal that they scored came from just Moises Caicedo
Of Brighton.
Of Brighton, and that was the first time that any Ecuador player not named Ener Valencia scored in a major tournament since 2006.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so...
There's a stat.
Yeah, right? But, I mean, it's probably his last World Cup, and Ener Valencia, I think we remember he was at West Ham?
Yeah, he had a cup of coffee with West Ham. I think he's at Fenerbahce now and actually balling out. I'm checking the stats, and he's got like 13 goals in the league. And I think Fenerbahce are top of the Turkish Super League. So, in the late stages of his career, I think he was in Mexico for a while.
He was, yes, absolutely.
At Tigres, and then he went back over to Turkey and is playing really well.
Yeah.
And I think Fenerbahce in first place in Turkey for the first time in a long time.
You're right.
So that's the story in Group A. Let's move on to Group B. And this was a juicy group. England topping the group. 2 very controlled, impressive wins against Iran and Wales.
Yes.
Wherein I thought their best player and one of the players of the tournament so far, and their best player in the group stage, for my money, I'm going to shout out my black and yellows. Jude Bellingham.
He's been great.
Holy moly.
Though it's been like I actually talked a lot of shit about them putting Jordan Henderson in the lineup, but what Jordan Henderson being in the lineup does, it allows Jude to move further forward and kind of make those interplays with the forwards, and especially him like on that left side with whoever's on that left side, whether it be Marcus Rashford, whether it be Phil Foden or whoever it is over there. Like he knows he's out on the same wavelength of them. And he's 19. Like the poise that he plays with is ridiculous. Like, it's man, you guys are gonna make so much money off of him.
Everybody wants him. I mean, literally, Liverpool, Manchester United, Manchester City, Real Madrid.
He's going for triple digits.
It's gonna be a big payday for us. Wanted to shout out the Americans going through though.
The Americans were good.
We undersold them.
We did.
We had Wales going through. I think both of us.
Yes. That was dumb.
Bad call. Iran defeating Wales with 2 injury time goals.
And Wales looked awful. Like, never at any point in any game did I think that they were going to win.
I think they had like a short spell at the end of the game against the Americans.
Against the Americans.
I think Kiefer Moore, Bournemouth came on and scored. But the Americans, 1 win and 2 draws. They beat Iran in the decisive fixture, drew Wales, and a very impressive draw with England.
Absolutely.
A goalless draw wherein they were the better side, probably. Took it to England for most of the match.
Yeah, they were the better side. And, and the reason that we didn't pick them, it's not because of the players, because they do have good players. We picked against them because of Greg Berhalter.
Yeah,
strange
selections.
Who I'm still sure. Well, I mean, Aronson as a sub the entire tournament.
Yeah. Gio Reyna
came in. I think he played like maybe half an hour in the tournament. And like he said that he was protecting him from injury or something. Like, dog, it's the World Cup. Like, you let his club team figure that shit out. Like, you have to play him because I want to say it was Bill Simmons, actually, noted soccer guy Bill Simmons. But he was like, you need players who can score goals. And outside of Christian Pulisic, who was very good. He was very good. Like Chelsea, Chelsea, let him go. Even though we do have the Davies versus Pulisic agenda, I don't even care where you send him. He's still not going to be better than Davies, so whatever. But Pulisic showed out, man. Like, he was awesome. And he was a really, like, that goal that he scored against Iran, like, threw himself in there and, like, got kicked in the junk and pelvic and all sorts of shit. Like, that was a leader's goal. Like, just throw your body in there and, like, do whatever you can to get the goal. Like, Chelsea, let him go.
Yeah, demanding the ball on the wing, cutting inside, playing 1-2s along the edge of the box. Thought he was excellent in every game, really.
Yep, Tyler Adams was also very good.
And
just a person.
We just love this guy.
Yes, we do.
His post-game interviews, just wise. He's 24 years old, wise beyond his years, has been excellent at Leeds, sitting in front of defense. And just what a great leader. I mean, I would follow this guy into the breach.
Absolutely, for sure. And like that first match where like he was getting goated, he had pronounced Iran wrong. And that reporter was absolutely goading him into something. He was just like, I apologize on the mispronunciation of your name. And then after that, he said it like just the poise. Like 24-year-old Neil would have probably cursed that dude out. But shout out to the Americans for getting through.
They needed PFOC, man. This is what I was saying before. As we said, like, you need a true striker.
Yeah.
They didn't take one.
Yeah.
They have one.
Yeah.
Jordan PFOC Sibachu of Union Berlin.
Yeah. And didn't even take him.
Good striker.
Yeah.
Like, big, huge number 9. They don't have that in their lineup.
Yeah.
They took Haji Wright, who is a similar player, but I just don't think
just
he's
not
good. Not as good.
He's just not as good. So, I mean, Berhalter has to figure something out for the next World Cup.
Yep. Let's move on to Group C, where heavy favorites Argentina had a lump in their throats after the first match. Leo Messi scored from the spot, but then Saudi Arabia bossed them in the second half. Physical. I mean, all these guys play for the same club side in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
I believe Al Hilal.
Al Hilal, yeah.
And so they know how to play together. 2 very well taken edge of the box strikes from the edge of the area. Al Dasari with the winner, I believe. So shouts to Saudi Arabia. That was their only 3 points of the tournament, going down and exiting the tournament in 4th, as we predicted as well. Pat ourselves on the back. We are 2 for 3 so far in our picks in the groups. We got Group A right. We both got Group B wrong, although we did pick England to go through. But Argentina, Poland, 1-2.
Yes.
I think that's how we both had it. Argentina getting 2 wins over the 2 more difficult opponents. Although it wasn't pretty at times. They had to kind of like squeak their way through those matches.
Well, they had to, because Poland wasn't very good and Mexico weren't very good. So, like, they made that game, they made both of those games just grimy messes. Like, they weren't allowing Argentina to show their quality, because if Argentina would have showed their quality, both of them shits would have been 5-0 victories. They got to muck it up a little bit. Lewandowski finally got his World Cup goal in the last match against Argentina. Now, he needs a service. Like, it's funny watching someone like him at Barcelona and getting service from like Pedri and Gavi and Dembele and Rafinha and all these likes, and then he goes to Poland.
It's like Matty Cash.
Yeah. Who was actually
he had a job. All the guys he had to track one after another.
I feel like Matty Cash has just been working like the entire tournament. Everybody seemed to be like going towards his side. And to be fair, like, even we'll get into the game against France, but he did as good of a job on Mbappe as you can do.
Yeah. And like Mexico, Poland, that in those current games going on, it could have gone either way. And Saudi Arabia actually coming down and getting like the last kick of the match and scoring to send Mexico out of the tournament. But if Mexico had scored one more, their goal difference would have been even with Poland. And holy moly, the permutations got very complicated with that. But Poland managed to squeak through with that one extra goal difference.
Did Poland also make it through, or one of the teams in here, I didn't know this, as far as a tiebreak? Fair play?
Fair play.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah, I remember Senegal getting sent out of a tournament because they had more yellow cards. Because, I think it's like the 6th or 7th tiebreaker.
Right.
But, sometimes it's that close.
Hey, man, shouts to y'all.
Yep. In Group D, we had France, Australia, Tunisia, Denmark. And France fairly comfortable.
Yeah.
2 wins and a loss. Australia, the big shock of this group. 2 wins. The loss on France's record was Tunisia when they were already through.
Right.
So they kind of took it easy in that last match. But the Aussies, what a tournament for these lads. We'll get into the knockout stage game after this. But just, incredible cohesiveness and fight.
Yes.
Not the most skilled group. Most of their players running out in the Scottish Premiership.
Yeah.
Like Harry Sutar, that massive dude, plays for Aberdeen. I think he's like 6'8".
Yep.
In the center of their defense.
Aaron Moyes, Celtic?
Celtic, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's probably the biggest club represented. Obviously, shouts to Mark, our producer, Garan Kowal, the 18-year-old who plays in the Australian A-League right now, will be joining Newcastle United in January. And he's some hotness. He was coming off the bench. But wins versus Tunisia and Denmark to shock the group and go through when they were probably 4th favorites to go through. Everybody had Denmark going through behind France.
Yeah.
Very, very disappointing tournament from Denmark. This is what we said going in, though. If there was one thing that they can't do, goals. That's what bit them in the ass. Very good in the midfield, good defense, but couldn't score goals.
They scored. I mean, their defense was very good. Allowed 3 goals in 3 games. They scored 1 goal in 3 games, and that's not enough. Like, it's just, Christian Eriksen wasn't his usual influential self, but I think again that we're seeing is that these players play with these club teams and they play with them all the time, and also too, club teams just seem to be better, like better than the international play. I feel like it's switched somewhere maybe in the early 2000s that club teams were the way to go. But I do want to shout out Tunisia for losing or for beating France. What this showed me is that like these throwaway games, like France had already got their points and they were through. They started a second string lineup, but you would expect France's second string lineup to still like roll Tunisia. They do not, and like the gap between Europe and like Asia and Africa and South America outside of Brazil and Argentina, like the gap, you can't just throw out some players and expect to win.
Yeah. Shouts to Wabi Khazri scoring the goal against France of my Montpellier lads, my Liga team. You may remember Wabi Khazri running out in the Premier League many moons ago.
Yep.
But he is back in. Yeah, and that's the other thing that's great about Tunisia is a lot of those dudes born in France.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? To Tunisian parents who came over from North Africa, second generation kids. So like to get one up against the old colonial masters, that's got to feel so good.
They had that shit circled as soon as they figured out that they were in that group. They were like, oh yeah, we're going at them.
Okay, so now it's time for Group A.
Yeah, buddy.
This is my glory moment. Japan. Now, I will say, I didn't have them topping the group.
Now, but see, I trusted you, and I did. And at 1:30 in the morning, making a bet that I can't remember, I bet on Japan to top the group, and they topped the group.
Unbelievable performance from the boys from the land of the rising sun. Losing to Costa Rica and still topping the group, beating Spain and Germany.
That's wild, man. Like, and that, again, shows you gap is closing. And like all of these, the Japanese team are a bunch of guys. Like it seems like this team has played together for a while, and I don't know what they're doing in their training. Well, I don't want to step on the next game, but they're not practicing penalties. but like they just have a team spirit about them, and I think they went behind in all of their group games. And ended up winning 2 of them. Like they don't get panicked when they go down.
Yep. Yeah. Comebacks against Spain and Germany. Shouts to Daichi Kamada of Eintracht Frankfurt. So good.
Very good.
Ritsu Doan. Maybe their best player. I was calling for him to start. He was used as a super sub.
Yeah.
Every time he came on, injected some life into that group. Plays on the right side of their front 3.
Yep.
The Freiburg forward. Freiburg, of course, having a very good season in Bundesliga. Most of Japan's players, Bundesliga players.
Yeah.
Takefusa Kubo, also the Real Madrid Academy product, who is now at Real Sociedad in Spain, had also a very good group stage. So unbelievably, Japan with 2 wins, topping the group with 6 points, and Germany crash out at the group stage for the 2nd consecutive World Cup.
Yeah.
They did this also in Russia. You look at that squad talent-wise, I don't know what they're missing. Jamal Musiala looked like
he was incredible.
He looked like Messi.
Yeah.
Like legit.
His close control is nuts.
Yeah, and I think that's where the comparisons come from. Running with the ball and exchanging positions, those short passes.
Yeah.
Look like Iniesta and Xavi and Messi back in the day when he's exchanging passes with Gnabry and Kimmich and stuff like that, and that in the middle there. But despite that, Germany. Only 4 points and behind Spain on goal difference because Spain thumped Costa Rica 7-0.
Yes.
And they really needed those 7 goals to head through in second place behind Japan.
Well, like, I'm just looking at it, and I mean, what is it? Is it their defense? Because, like, Rudiger's back there, and he's fine. He's very good.
I think it is. That's definitely an issue.
Nicolas Sule, like, he's, I mean, you've watched him at Dortmund.
And we've said this in our preview, right? They took all the Dortmund defenders.
Yeah.
And Dortmund's defense is trash.
Yeah.
And I think part of it is Bayern's back line. Nobody's German.
No.
Right? It's Upamecano and
Rudiger's the only German.
And Pavard and Rudiger's at Real Madrid. So
and I'm sure they started not John Rahm, sorry. Joshua Kimmich started one of the games at right back. Like, I know, yes, that he can do that, but like he's much better in the pitch, getting 1,000 touches a game and dictating play. So I was like, yo, man, like they're going to be like Canada was in 2006 when we crashed out of the Olympics. Like whatever parliamentary shit that they had going on, this is the number one thing on the table right now. This cannot happen at the next World Cup. Is Hansi Flick going to be around for Euros?
I mean, there's going to be a major referendum on this. I mean, like, obviously, it's just not acceptable at the group stage for what are they, 4-time world champions?
Well, remember that stretch? I feel like there was like a good 10-year stretch where they were like in at least the quarters and a bunch of semis. And now to crash out in the group stage at 2 straight World Cups, I don't even remember what they did at Euros. But did they? I
think they made the knockout phases.
But that's about it. Yeah. But like this is Germany, man. Like you said, there's going to be a major referendum on this.
Yeah, I mean, minimum standards for them is semifinals at any tournament, right? I mean, that's minimum standard, yeah.
And Costa Rica got their win over Japan.
Yes, and showed out in every game.
Yeah, outside of the Spain game.
Yeah, I mean, so they got rolled in the first game, but there was a point during the third round of fixtures that it was Japan and Costa Rica going through.
Yes.
Because they were ahead of Germany at the time. Germany had to come back and beat them.
Yeah.
Despite winning that game, I think
4-2. Yeah.
Didn't go through. But yeah, Costa Rica were up 2-1 at one point, and Japan was up on Spain. And at that point, it was Costa Rica and Japan. Costa Ricans have been at every World Cup, I think, for the last 20 years.
Yep.
This is a tiny little Latin American country.
You love Costa Rica, too.
Yeah, we go there all the time.
Yeah.
We love this place. But what a hotbed of talent for such a tiny place. I mean, and they've carried through a lot of the same squad for the last 10 years or so. They're getting along in the tooth. A lot of guys in their 30s.
What's his name?
Brian Ruiz,
yeah,
Brian
Oviedo, yeah.
Kendall Waston
Yeah.
at the back. A lot of old dudes, but they played together before, right?
Yeah.
So they're cohesive and knew how to give the big teams trouble, and they did in this tournament despite finishing 4th in the group. All right, it is time. It is Group F time. It is Morocco, Croatia, Belgium, Canada time. So let's lead off with our lads.
Okay.
Let's start with there. The first match, the vibes were excellent.
Should have beat Belgium.
Yeah. I mean, we outplayed them. We bossed the match.
For the entire match, too. Not like just like points and like whatever. Like we bossed the entire match.
Yep. A moment of quality on the break from Michy Batshuayi.
Yeah.
A ball played through to him. It was on the bounce. He was on the shoulder of the last defender.
Vittori, I believe it was.
Yeah, rifled it into the side netting on the right from about the edge of the 18-yard box. Very smart finish from Batshuayi, of course. Forced into the lineup because Lukaku was still a little nagging injury.
Yep.
Played bit part minutes in Belgium's group stage matches. But yeah, what a start for our lads, falling 1-0. And, the vibes after that match going into that Croatia match were excellent. Because, we probably should have scored. There were a couple of chances in that first game.
Fonzie's got to make that penalty. Well,
penalty,
actually,
right?
no, not Fonzie's got to make that penalty.
David.
Jonathan David has to take that penalty. What? And it still hasn't come out. Was it Davies who made the call? Was it Herdman who made the call? Like, who made that call? Because as great as Fonzie is, He's not a striker. He's not a finisher. Why not put shit? I would have rather had Kyle Larin taking that penalty. Give that to someone whose job it is to finish. And that's just it. And there's one thing of quality from Michi, and that's it. Yep. And that's all it takes. And that's what we learned. It's like, the margins are that thin when you get to this level.
Yep.
So the vibes were great going to Belgium, and I think I may have even said in the False Nine live watch, you can go back and watch it on YouTube. BNV Media, shout out. I think I was like, yeah, Croatia's just a slower Belgium. We'll be fine. We were not. We were not fine. No. And the thing is that like Croatia is a slower version of Belgium, but like they just executed real well, and they took away the things that we wanted to do. They made it a slow slog. When the game was chaotic, that's when we were at our best. Yep. And then Fonzie scored that goal at the first 2 minutes, and everything was great. And then it wasn't. Scored
too soon.
Yep.
Classic case of scored too soon.
Yep.
Shouts to everybody who came out.
Yeah, shouts to everybody.
For the BNV Media False Nine live watch along on YouTube. We had, 20 people up here in the studio. It was a great time.
Sorry, it wasn't that entertaining the last 20 minutes because we were all like,
yeah. If anybody was watching along, the second half might have been a little rough.
Yeah.
But what a moment. Scoring our first ever World Cup goal by Fonzie in that, rising, heading it home in the second minute. We all jumped out of our seats. It was incredible. But then, as you said, the old heads in the midfield of Croatia slowed the pace.
Yep.
I mean, that was just it, right? I mean, our athleticism was our advantage over Croatia, and they just neutralized it.
Yep.
Luka Modric and Kovacic and Perisic and Brozovic.
All the Mitches.
I mean, those guys just are, they're not as fast as any of our guys.
No.
And it really hurts Eustáquio having to be subbed off with a thigh
hamstring,
something like that. And that was our Luka Modric neutralizer.
Yeah.
And so a 4-1 loss, and they really did boss the match from the 10th minute on, I would say.
Pretty much. And after that, and then even in the game against Morocco, like again, I was gonna say we didn't get embarrassed. I don't think we got embarrassed. I do wonder what Borjan was doing in that first goal, like
just a bonehead mistake.
Just a bonehead, and
he has been known.
He has been known to do that, and he was actually very good for the first couple games. Like none of the Croatia goals were his fault. Until this game was his fault, and he gave it away to Ziyech, I believe it was.
Passed it to the wrong man. Too. I mean, one of their best players, Hakim Ziyech, lobbing the keeper from about 30 yards out when he was off his line. Basically, he's trying to pass through the lines to a midfielder and pass it straight to Hakim Ziyech. Then Youssef En-Nesyri with a very smart finish. A nice through ball played to him from the wing from Achraf Hakimi. And this is the thing. You look at Morocco topping the group. We'll get to the story of the group after we get through this Canada roundup. But, this squad is legit.
Yeah.
They are fast, and they can pass it. They can go back to front so fast.
Yep.
And En-Nesyri, despite having a bit of a rough season at Sevilla so far this year, a proven goal scorer.
Yeah.
Has been filling it up in La Liga for years.
Yeah.
And a very smart finish in the 23rd to go up. We did get a kind of fortunate bounce off a cross off West Ham defender, Naif Aguerd.
Yep.
In the 40th minute to give us some hope of getting our first point. We did get 60% of the possession in this match, but we were still pretty clearly second best on the day.
Yeah, and I mean, like Ziyech, and people were like, "Oh, well, we have the talent. Advantage in this game." It was like, "Have you seen Hakim Ziyech? I know he's not playing a lot for Chelsea. Hakim Ziyech is starting for Canada. El-Nesyri is still starting for Canada. Hakimi starting for Canada. Sofiane Fall is probably starting for Canada. I keep forgetting how good he is until I see him.
And Sofiane Amrabat."
In the middle of the midfield.
The Fiorentina central midfielder is wanted by much bigger teams.
Yeah.
He has been fantastic in Serie A this season at brick shithouse.
Yeah.
Sitting in front of defense. Reminds me a little bit of Leander Dendoncker, the Belgian, but better with his feet than him.
Yeah.
Liverpool, tied to Liverpool, maybe a slot into that Fabinho spot, I've heard.
Well, what about Fabinho?
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. I think maybe they favor this guy over Fabinho.
Okay, well, Fabinho hasn't been great.
Yeah, really getting a little long in the tooth. Hasn't looked great this season.
No, he hasn't. But I'm put a bow on Canada. Like, look, it just showed where especially the Croatia game, showed where we have to go. And we had a great qualifying run. But what everybody hopefully has learned watching this is that it's great being good in CONCACAF. that is way different than being like playing the European teams, the African teams, shoot, the Asian teams. Like CONCACAF is still way back there in terms of like the federations play.
Yeah.
So that's why, and like we'll get to it later, but like we need more of our players playing in top leagues. Like the teams that have made the round of 16, most of the good teams have like most of their team are playing in the top 5 leagues. How do you get better? You play with better players, you play against better players. That's just the way that it goes.
And we had another massive crash out in this group.
Yes,
World
sir.
number 2 Belgium, we talked about it. They looked second best against Canada. They looked second best in every game.
Every single game. There may have been like 10 minutes like in the middle or near the end of the Croatia game where they looked decent or close to themselves, but like
I mean, they got a draw there, but, handily beaten by Morocco.
yeah.
And Morocco, deserving winners of this group, are going on to the knockout stages. So Morocco and Croatia moving on from Group F, and Belgium, the golden generation. I mean, this was maybe the last chance for that group who
it
came
was the
up
last
together
chance
to get something done in a big tournament. KDB and Lukaku and Yannick Ferreira Carrasco and Tielemans and Vertonghen and Alderweireld, all those guys.
Yeah.
They're all late 20s, early 30s now. And, this was such a promising generation of talent.
Yeah.
One of the best on paper teams in the world the last 10 years. And never really did anything.
Nothing. Like, I think their best, they made it to the semis of the last World Cup. And I think that might be their best showing. Like for this group of players, and now it has been said, there were some internal issues throughout the tournament. Apparently, people weren't happy in the group. Like they asked KDB, "Are you guys going to win?" And he was like, "We're too old." And I thought that was a joke but he actually said that shit. And like, dog, even if you believe it, you can't say that out loud to a reporter. He was like, "Oh, it was taken out of context." Reporters are going to take everything out of context because in this day and age of clickbait, that's all. Like, as soon as you said that's the headline. We're too old, and like that, and it was just on from there.
You could tell vibes were bad. Just real bad hoodoo around this team.
And they weren't happy about Martinez continuing to stick with Eden Hazard, even though Eden Hazard has not been Eden Hazard for 3 years.
Side?
He was captaining the side.
What?
But when was the last time you saw him play for Real Madrid 5 games in a row?
Like, you think KDB was happy about that?
No. Oh, that's a very good
Right?
call. That's a very good call. So, and obviously, I think it was like 15, 20 minutes after the match, Martinez was just like, "Yeah, I'm quitting. I said that I was going to quit after the World Cup anyway." Like, "Yeah, I'm sure you did, buddy. I'm sure you did." But like, you had that shit in your drafts ready to hit send as soon as you were done. So now it's going to be because KDB is going to be 35 at the next World Cup and 33 at the next Euros. The defense, I think they're done. Like, they're all like 35 and stuff. Lukaku just can't hit the broadside of a barn now. Like,
Missed some sitters in this group stage.
Yeah, and especially in the last game against Croatia when they still had a chance, he had at least 3. So Belgium's got a lot. They've got a lot to think about before Euros.
Yep. In Group G, this is, of course, the Brazil group with Switzerland, Cameroon, and Serbia. Obviously, heavily favored to go through. They had already wrapped it up after their first 2 games against Switzerland and Serbia, including a what would you say, a 3/4 bicycle kick by Richarlison in the
Tricycle
first match?
kick.
Yeah, just unbelievable. We were talking, we'll get to the magic today from Brazil in the knockout phases, but Richarlison, I think 2 goals so far in his Spurs tenure, both coming in Champions League. Hasn't scored in the Premier League yet.
Yeah.
In the white of Tottenham Hotspur. Pulls on that Brazil jersey, and it might as well be a Superman uniform because I think he has like 10 goals in his last 8 games for Brazil or
He's
something.
He's got 3 so far.
Yeah. So, I mean, an unbelievable performance from Richarlison in the group stage. I mean, they're firing on all cylinders for the most part, although should be said, shouts to Cameroon. Vincent Aboubakar with a 90+1 minute goal.
Yep.
He's in Saudi Arabia now, but longtime Besiktas man.
Right.
I will shout out my Turkish lads, but Aboubakar has been leading the line for Cameroon for years, alongside, of course, our false 9 favorite Eric Maxime Choupo-Moting.
Yep.
Bayern Munich, who's actually having a great season.
He's
for
really
Bayern.
great Bayern. Yeah, he's really great.
Scoring goals, unbelievably. Best agent in football.
Yeah.
But yes, Cameroon getting a win over Brazil, despite crashing out of the group. finishing third ahead of Serbia. So another horror show at a big tournament for Serbia.
Serbia stinks.
I mean, it did hurt that Vlahovic was carrying an injury.
Yeah.
But, it's still lots of talent. They got Mitrovic from Fulham, who's been in great form in the Premier League. Some great midfielders, pretty decent all over the pitch. I mean, a little weak at the back, but
allowed 8 goals.
Serbia, no wins, but Brazil through easily with a win over the Switzerland and Serbia, a dead rubber in that last one. Switzerland always perform well at big tournaments.
Always.
I mean, they made a deep run at Euros a couple years ago.
Yep.
I think semis or quarters. I can't remember. Real far.
Quarters.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Breel Mbolo, the Monaco striker, who a longtime Mönchengladbach man, has looked fantastic leading the line for them. Xherdan Shaqiri puts on those Swiss colors again. He's over in MLS now. Don't know what he's doing in Chicago.
Yep.
Looks great. The cube.
Yeah.
Xherdan Shaqiri, Shaka playing balls through the lines. Zakaria.
Xhaka trying to fight everybody.
Yeah, so the Swiss through in second, I believe that's how we had this one as well. Pretty good predictions from us.
We're doing pretty good. And I just want to say before we leave, the last Abukar, that goal against Brazil, and he took off his shirt and got his second yellow for a red, and even the ref was just like, I got to give it to you, but well done, lad.
The ref literally shook his hand as he sent it off. It was great.
Well, I mean, listen, I'm doing that too. This is probably his last World Cup, I would think.
I think he's getting pretty long in the
Yeah,
season.
but hey, man, well, I mean, if he's playing at the next World Cup, Cameroon has big problems.
Yeah. So yes, sorry to see the African side, but good showing by Africa at this tournament, despite lots of injuries in their ranks. They had 3 teams through, although they did crash out in the round of 16. We'll get to that. Group H, our last group. Portugal in first place, 2 wins and a loss. But very close between those last 3 groups. This was one of the tightest groups, hardest to call.
Group of death.
But Korea going through in second place, just on goals for. They were even on goal difference with Uruguay, who they all went 1-1. They both went 1-1 and 1. The unfortunate to see the Black Stars crash out, although holy moly is Mohamed Kudus good.
Yes, right.
The Ajax,
yeah.
Attacking mid/wide forward, basically just an attacker.
Yeah.
But he's going to command big money. That Ajax system, he looked fantastic.
Oh yeah, no, he's. I didn't know much about him before this, but he's going to get a bunch of money.
But Korea. I think the story of the group is Korea. Going through. Portugal was to be expected. Obviously,
no, not by me. I picked him to go out because the whole Ronaldo.
The vibes
still aren't good. Yeah. But I mean, the vibes aren't good around him, and him trying to friggin' steal Bruno's goal by his oh look, I got a hair follicle on it. Give me my goal. It's all about me. Give me. Also, Bruno Fernandes has been awesome. Great tournament for Manchester United players so far.
Everybody looks great.
Everybody
Casemiro
looks fantastic.
Great. I mean,
Marcus Rashford was awesome in the second game.
Got a brace in the second game.
Yeah.
And including a free kick. Is he even taking free kicks for Manchester United?
I think him and Bruno are going to have some conversations about this now. But yeah, Portugal seemed to be doing that in spite of Ronaldo, who apparently again bitched about getting subbed, and now we're going to see in the group stage, because they haven't played it by the time we're recording, but does Santos have the cojones to drop him? He does not.
I don't think so.
No.
I mean, he even talked shit about him to the press.
Yeah.
Saying
still not going to drop him
because he I don't know was salty about getting subbed off in their last match, of course.
Right.
Cops an attitude anytime he can.
Yep.
And that's the thing, is that no shortage of replacements for him on that Portugal squad. I
Rafael
mean,
Leao's sitting right there.
And Leao hasn't. I don't think he started.
He hasn't started a game. No, he didn't even start in the dead rubber game.
Yeah. Weird.
That doesn't make any sense.
I mean, it's hard to argue with the talent that they do field.
Yes.
And Ronaldo, I guess, gets the respect of 20 years of brilliance despite his petulance. I mean, but the vibes are not good in the camp. I mean, we will see that. We'll preview it. I mean, the Swiss are no rollover.
We were talking about that before, but like you said, the name of the story of this group is South Korea going through. I want to say Cho Gi-sung.
Yeah, a couple good headers.
Couple good headers in there. Kim Young-gwan scored a goal. And they did it all without Heung-min Son, who didn't score a goal, but he was instrumental in what they did.
They ran their offense through that left wing of him kind of cutting in from the left side.
Yeah.
My bugaboo with them, though, using Lee Kang-in as a super sub.
Yeah.
This man should be on the field all the time.
All the time.
I mean, I have bigged him up on the pod all season playing at Mallorca. I know that that's a little maybe nerdy for our people who just watch every 4 years, watching a mid-table side in La Liga. But I mean, he looks unreal at Mallorca this season.
Yep.
What a left foot. One of the best crossers of the ball in the world. Reminds me a lot of Filip Kostic. The Serbian Juve man.
Yeah.
Almost like carbon copy players.
Yep.
And he looked great every time he came on for Korea in the group stage.
And I don't know why he hasn't been starting. And Kim Min-jae, the center back for Napoli.
Yeah, what a unit he is.
Yeah, he was great. Well, not so much today, but we'll talk about that in a bit. But yeah, man, shouts on Korea. I think I had Korea and Uruguay going through. Uruguay obviously crashed out. Anytime I get to see Luis Suarez in tears, that makes me happy in my soul.
Despite the Black Stars finishing behind Uruguay, a measure of revenge for if you remember 2 World Cups ago, Luis Suarez handball on the goal line and a red card, Ghana stepping up to the spot, I believe. Maybe Asamoah Gyan having his penalty saved.
No, he hit the crossbar.
He hit the crossbar. Despite going out of the tournament, some Schadenfreude for the Black Star fans out there.
Well, they were watching once it came through that South Korea had scored. The Ghana fans lost their minds and started chanting Korea and stuff. I love it. It's so petty. It's Tom Petty. It's Deanie Petty. It warms my soul. I love it.
Yep. So let's do a few quick hits on the round of 16 matches so far. We have had 3/4 of the round of 16 matches so far. Let's cast our minds back a couple of days to Saturday for the first matchup between the Dutch and the Americans. And this was a coaching masterclass. We have to hand it to the old man.
Yeah.
We gave him a lot of stick when in charge of Manchester United and various other club teams.
Yeah.
Louis van Gaal, I think 70 plus at this point.
Yep.
A perfect tactical setup against the Americans, slowed the pace, attacked them on the flanks, neutralized their physicality, and hit them on the break. A beautiful, an incredible performance from Inter winger Denzel Dumfries. Was all over the place. 2 assists and a goal, setting up Memphis Depay on the first for a clinical finishes from the edge of the 18 on the break. And then just before halftime, a third man run by Daley Blind. A similar run by Denzel Dumfries up his wing. A cutback, Daley Blind finding those pockets of space, as you said, such great cerebral soccer player, knows where to be, and a smart finish to pass it into the net. Haji Wright getting a very fortuitous bounce. Christian Pulisic, definitely great performance here, despite not too many other great ones on the day from the Americans.
No.
But playing a great ball across to Haji Wright, it kind of flicked in off his heel. To make it interesting. But then, this was the weakness of the team at the back. Denzel Dumfries in acres of space.
How is he that wide open?
Daley Blind played a ball like it was in the air for like 10 seconds. And Dumfries unmarked at the back post for a volley and a 3-1 win for the Dutch, moving on into the quarterfinals.
Like you said, man, it was like watching Michael Jordan play against, I don't know, I'm trying to think, like Brian Scalabrine. No disrespect to Brian Scalabrine, because I've seen him roast like normal dudes like on the basketball court who called them out, and like NBA players are very, very good. But like, you know what? It was like a coaching, like everything that Berhalter wanted to do, Van Gaal took it away. And he even said in the press or in the post game, he was like, and the Americans didn't make any adjustments. So I kind of didn't really have to, because they just kept doing the same thing that we had defended against. So, and like
they had nothing for Dumfries.
No, Dumfries and even Blind on the other side. Like they just like the wings. And that's what we've seen. Like, I mean, Liverpool kind of have not mastered this, but Liverpool, Manchester City, like playing through the fullbacks.
They were too high. I mean, Anthony Robinson and Serginho Dest, very good offensive fullbacks. caught too high off the pitch
Every
and
single
they were
time.
Caught out on the break every time, and they didn't, as you said, didn't adjust.
Didn't adjust. And I mean, that's, I mean, is Berhalter going to be there? And
his contract is up at the end of this year. It's not getting renewed.
I can't think now. I've seen some American fans saying, "Be like, what about that Roberto Martinez person that just got like what are you guys thinking? Like, did you not just see what he has been in charge?
I don't know how he got that job.
Yeah, he was. I'm saying with me,
right?
Like,
Everton, Fulham, like not a sterling record, right?
yeah, and he ends up getting this job and taking the most talented Belgium team in the history of Belgium nowhere. So why do you think? But maybe he's good for that level of team, like getting them kind of to the next level. So I don't know. I can't see Berhalter doing it, but like, you know, shouts to Pulisic, shouts to I thought George Weah had a good tournament as well.
Yes, Timothy.
Oh, shout to his dad.
Shouts to his dad, who's now president of Liberia.
Like the football federation?
No.
Like the country.
Of the country. Oh, Africa.
But yeah, good showing by the Americans, but they were just completely outclassed.
Yep.
Yeah.
Let's keep it moving. Later that day, Argentina were playing Australia, and shouts to the Aussies. This was way more exciting than it needed to be.
Yeah.
I mean, Argentina dominated the first 45 minutes. Shouts to Nicolas Otamendi. Had a ball played into his feet after being up from a set play. He was still along that back line of Australia. Had a ball fizzed into him. The presence of mind to lay it off into the path of the man of the moment, Lionel Messi, who coolly passed it into the side netting in the 35th minute to go up 1-0. What scenes? The Argentine fans at the World Cup, for my money, best traveling fans at almost every World Cup. There's like it's like 50,000 in the stands every game.
Every game that I've seen, it seems like, and I have a note written here somewhere, like just to say that it felt like every Argentina game I've seen, like all of the other fans, like there's pockets of like Ghana players here or Ghana fans here. Like it felt like in the Australia game, it felt like 70-80% of the stadium was Argentina fans. It was wild.
Yep. Just after halftime, interesting choice by the gaffer, Lionel Scaloni. This is his first big job. And we had some, in the group chat, some skepticism around some of his team selections.
Lisandro Martinez.
Notably, going with Otamendi over Lisandro Martinez. I would think Lisandro and Christian Romero would be the number one pairing, although Otamendi having a fantastic late career bloom at Benfica.
Yep.
But still, I mean, Lisandro has played every match. They brought him on.
He brought and he was actually playing, I think, left back. He came on for Acuna in the last game, so he can do that.
But also playing Julian Alvarez, the young Man City man, over Lautaro Martinez.
He looked much better
and has looked excellent. Scored, I think, 3 times already this World Cup, including a very smart finish from the edge of the 18 to go up 2-0 in the 57th minute. But shouts to the Aussies. After going down 2-0, they really pushed.
Yeah.
Getting a late goal, an own goal from it deflected off, caromed off of Enzo Fernandez, who, holy moly.
That goal in the
group stage.
the second.
Yeah, I think.
The second game.
Yeah, it was cutting in from the left onto his right foot, smashing it into the top corner.
Yep.
In the group stage, the Benfica central defensive midfielder, playing a little more offensively for his national team. An unfortunate carom off of him. I think it was a Colin Goodwin shot.
He didn't know anything about it.
I mean, it wasn't probably not going in if not for the deflection, hence the own goal. But holy moly, the last 20 minutes, Aussies pushing for an equalizer. And with the last kick of the match, as we mentioned, soon-to-be Newcastle man Garan Kool cutting in from the right wing, and a great save by Emi Martinez to keep Argentina in the tournament.
Emi Martinez trying to get in that shop window because apparently you told me him and Unai Emery, they got beef, so he might be trying to get in that shop window and get the hell out of Villa.
Yeah, we'll see where that goes. Let's keep it moving. Just yesterday on Sunday, France were playing Poland in the knockout stages, and the story of this one, Kylian Mbappe is really, really good at soccer.
Oh my God.
Also, Olivier Giroud is now France's all-time leading goal scorer.
If you told, like, I mean, I can't say me because I'm kind of nerdy, but like, ask like any quasi-casual football fan, who has scored the most goals for France? You'd probably have Henri. You'd probably get Zidane. You'd probably guess like maybe like David Trezeguet or like
Platini,
Platini. Like
Fontaine.
I feel like Giroud was probably going to be like maybe 7th or 8th by the time you get to him, and it'll be like Olivier Giroud, and you'd be right.
I think 53 goals.
Yep.
And a very smart finish. I mean, fizzed into his feet by Mbappe on the left. Had to get it out of his feet from the edge of the 18 from the left side into the right side netting. As we said, the more difficult the finish, the easier Giroud makes it look.
He can't tap, like, because before he scored that goal, someone, I think it may have been Mbappe or Dembele, fizzed it across the side, and all he had to literally do was get a touch on it, and it would have went in the net. Nothing. But if you give him, like, he was doing bicycle kicks for fun, like, yesterday. Like, the higher the degree of difficulty, the more likely he is to score. And, like, Mbappe, and I think I may have been shitting on him before in the PSG, like, talking about PSG. And Mbappe was like, in the France lineup, I have Giroud, and he's the focal point, and I just kind of play around him. Whereas in PSG, I'm the focal point, and that's not, and he's still doing very well doing that, but, like, he kind of might be right, man. Like, you can't just sit him, like, he just should have license to usually drift out on the left, but, like, dog, you just do whatever the hell you want.
Young Ronaldo vibes.
Yeah.
Ronaldo at Manchester United.
Yes.
The first time.
The first time, yeah.
That's what he looks like. Just up and down the left, and his 2 goals, almost carbon copies. Great play, great game from Ousmane Dembele, too.
Yeah.
On the other side, I mean, I think set up both of Mbappe's goals. They weren't assists, but he streaked up his wing and played those long seeing eye balls across the midfield to Mbappe on the other side in space. Saw where the space was, and then Mbappe cutting in from the left onto his right foot. The first one in the left top corner near post, second one far top corner, far post. Both rockets. I mean, this guy is
keeper couldn't do shit about them.
Unbelievable. And that's the thing. Anytime that he got the ball, he can collect the ball 5-10 yards in advance of his marker and still just easily pass him. Like,
just kick it. Just kick it and run.
He doesn't need moves. He's just so fast.
Yeah, like wait till he figures out like moves and shit. But like Dembele gets so much spent because everybody's loading up on the Mbappe side. They give the ball to Dembele and everybody starts scrambling. Oh shit. And then Mbappe is wide open again. And I want to say, like, shout-outs to Tchouaméni, who I thought was a weird selection, picking him over, like, Camavinga. He's been very, very good. Adrien Rabiot. He's been really good in this tournament.
Good.
Like, so good. Like, well, I mean, this is the Rabiot. We know that he can do this. It's just he spends 60% of the time being good, and the other 40% of the time just being a mercurial asshole.
Yeah, it's an attitude thing. I think when he's chill, he's a Rolls Royce footballer, right?
Yeah.
Everything looks easy. Got the ball on a string. One of those guys who makes tackles without going to ground.
Yeah.
Ever. Like can just pluck the ball from you.
He's white Paul Pogba.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now imagine that midfield at Juve when Pogba gets healthy.
And Anto Griezmann.
And Anto Griezmann as a 10.
Fantastic as a 10.
Yeah.
Drifting in around. We said they have the best half-court offense in the tournament, barring a basketball turn. When they get the ball along the edge of the 18, and you've got Giroud on the shoulder of the last defender, Mbappe on the left, and then Dembele and Griezmann exchanging positions from the right side and the number 10. It's unstoppable. They're kind of fun. They just exchange passes and can get in behind.
Yep. And now we should say, I think we mentioned it earlier, Lewandowski finally got his knockout stage goal. It was
the second time
around because
fucking
stop skipping. Shoot
the Jorginho skip.
Yeah. And like, I mean,
hate it.
And the Bruno skip as well. Bruno Fernandes as well. Like, just pick a corner and hit it hard. And we'll talk about it in the Japan game. But like the penalties I've seen in this tournament so far have been terrible.
Yep.
Like it's just, but yeah, I mean, France.
They look like the best team.
France, like if I had to put, and actually I have put money on it, like France, if I had to bet the most consistent team, it's them.
Yep. England, your 3 Lions. This is your number 2 team. They've hosted Senegal in the round of 16. Bright start from the Senegalese.
Yes.
About the first half hour or so. Gave you all you could handle.
Yep.
But in the 38th minute, Jude Bellingham, unbelievable. Actually, a great move, like 4-part move up the left. Great touch from Harry Kane in the build-up. Great touch from Jude Bellingham on the left to kind of cut it back into space. Jordan Henderson with the late run, right place, right time to pass it into the net in the 38th. And then Harry Kane also on the break. Nice ball from Phil Foden, smashing it home from the edge of the 18 in the extra time of the first half. And then Phil Foden, unbelievable on the third goal. Rode a challenge, beat a man, and then played it behind the defense for Bukayo Saka to chip the keeper. Great performance from your three Lions. They look really good.
They're really good. And I mean, I was kind of worried. I was like, not starting Rashford after scoring a brace in that, like putting Saka back in. Saka was awesome. I think Foden has to start from now on. I think that's the English press, they clamor about some shit and they get shit right every so often. They're probably right on this one. He probably should be starting, but I mean, it says something that like Rashford should probably get a nod for starting as well. England has been very good. Harry Maguire. Very, very good in this tournament so far.
Pretty good, solid.
Him and John Stones and Jordan Pickford. I think it's just a familiarity thing. Like they all just kind of know they've played together for so long. Kyle Walker now playing well, and we're really going to need him in the France game because he's probably going to be going up against Mbappe. We'll talk about that in a minute. And pretty much after that, like Senegal came at us for the first half an hour, but after that we kind of controlled it. And again, like I was saying, like Jordan Henderson playing that role so that Jude can play a little bit more forward and make those passes with Foden and Kane, who finally got his World Cup goal. I think he's one behind Wayne Rooney now. And great late run from Henderson. So
I mean, Bellingham he looks like the best player on your team.
Yeah.
And he's 19. We talked about it in the group stage, but he just drifts around too. Like you can tell he's just got license to do what he wants.
Yeah.
Because he's always in the right place.
He's always
he can read the plays one step ahead.
Yeah. So, and I mean, that looks great. Like, I mean, Rashford, Foden, Saka, Bellingham, like this is a young team. Even Declan Rice is only 24. Yeah.
It's a good team and a tasty matchup coming up. We will preview it in a minute. Just today, Japan taking on Croatia. This is a little bit of a dud.
It wasn't a great game.
Not a great watch. Japan going up, probably the better team through 90 minutes. But very smart header from Ivan Perisic, long header.
It was, I think they said it was 18 yards.
Yeah, very good power, generating power from Perisic to draw level. And then as we alluded to, some very poor penalties from Japan. Kind of
pick a corner and hit it hard. Why are you trying to pass the ball?
Arms,
well, and who let Maya Yoshida take a penalty? And God love him, I know he's your captain, long-serving captain. Have you ever seen him take a penalty in your life?
He's a center back. I don't get it. I know captain. And it's the same thing with Davies. Maybe he demanded the ball. But if you haven't taken a penalty in live action in 10 years or, in your professional career, maybe you shouldn't be doing it at the World Cup.
No. But yeah. And I think
3-1 on penalties.
3-1 penalties.
And I think the last one by Pavlovic, 3 saves from the Croatia keeper, although not hard
Didn't
saves.
have to. One of the saves he had to stretch for, and that's only one of them. Like the other ones, he was saving it. Like he didn't even have to extend his arms. Like it's.
So Croatia through. Sad to see all of the Asian teams, or the Asian Federation teams, I should say, crash out at the round of 16. Australia also part of that federation, but Brazil. Taking on Korea today, and it was done in the first 20 minutes. It was Vinny Jr. with a lovely placed kind of side foot effort, kind of like only had one place to put it, and he put it there for their first goal. Neymar from the spot for their second one, and then another argument for goal of the tournament from Spurs frontman Richarlison. Okay, so this is it. I don't know how to describe this. The ball popped up into the air. He was about 5 yards outside the 18-yard box with a man in his shirt on his back. 2 juggles with his head, 2 juggles with his foot. On the second juggle with his foot, playing a nutmeg through his defender's legs to the man in front of him, who played it across to Thiago Silva. He continued his run beyond the back line, timed it perfectly, nice through ball from Silva, and a one-touch finish. It was like art on the field. unbelievable Joga Bonito and one mixtape shit.
I audibly gasped at the end of it. I was just like, what is going on? Like, after that, that goal just pretty much, it was 3-0. 3-0. It was pretty much jam done, but that pretty much just sapped all fight from Korea after that.
Yeah.
And then the last goal, Lucas Paqueta, who we were saying, like, why the hell is he starting over Bruno Guimaraes?
Yeah.
And, I mean, Vinny with a beautiful chip lob thing to find him. And
just the vision, right? Because like Vinny was streaking up the left hip wing as he's wont to do.
Yep.
The Korean defenders bunched in a row, like 5 of them, but has the vision and forethought to chip it behind all of the defenders to the late run of Paqueta to pick it out of the air. Nice finish on the volley, side foot volley, and it was 4 by the 36th minute. I should say, banger of a consolation marker from substitute Paik Sung-ho from kind of a volley from 30 yards out?
Yeah, it was like a set piece corner. It got headed out to like the 30-yard line, and with its left, just one, I think it may have bounced, but just smashed it. So, hey, if you're going to get a consolation, that's probably the way to do it.
Yep. So, yes, going forward, let's look at the quarterfinal matchups that we have so far. We should say tomorrow we have Morocco, Spain, and Portugal, Switzerland as the last round of 16 matches. Spain, obviously, should go through, but Morocco looking very good. And Switzerland, I think, could give Portugal all they could handle. I mean, very strong in defense, have a very good striker up top in Monaco's Braille Mbolo. I mean, Portugal should go through.
Yeah, it's like, so I'm picking Spain. I'm probably going to put money on Spain. I'll find some spread bets or something like that. I'll bet on them. I don't want to bet on Portugal, Switzerland, because I can absolutely see Switzerland frustrating Portugal for like 70 minutes, pipping 1 goal, and then just defending like hell for the last 20 minutes. Now, I do think Portugal is going to win, but I just feel like the bad vibes have to catch up with them at some point, right?
Yeah, I don't know if it's at this stage.
Yeah.
But then that would set up Portugal, Spain, which,
buddy.
give it to us, please.
Well, even like, so we were looking at the brackets, and like, there is a world in which we get Portugal, Spain in the next round. We get Argentina. We could get Argentina, Brazil in the semifinals. Like, even England. I guess we'll go into
Let's get to it.
England, France.
Yeah, the first matchup will go in order here. Netherlands, Argentina, who have a long history at the World Cup, have played each other many times. Tough to handicap because Argentina probably more talent all over the field, but haven't been clicking on all cylinders, hot and cold so far through their first 4 matches. The Netherlands, again, weak in spots. How do you see this one? I think I give slight edge to Argentina. I think maybe like 2-1.
I give the slight edge to Argentina, and I'm only saying that because I bet on them and I just need them to win. But like, I can also see a world in which Louis van Gaal does kind of the same thing he did to the Americans, but on a bigger scale. Like, find out what they want to do and take that away from them. And I guess what they want to do is obviously like, who's going to man mark Messi? Like, they're going to put someone on Messi.
Probably Frankie.
I would say Frankie, just because also Frankie kind of, was he there? Were they there at the same time?
I don't. Maybe briefly,
maybe like a year, maybe. But yeah, like, I feel like it's just going to be like, you want to know what? If Julian Alvarez wants to beat us, cool. If Enzo Fernandez wants to beat us, cool. Lautaro Martinez, whatever. Just not Messi. Yep. So I'm going to go Argentina on penalties.
All right. Yeah, I think it'll be close too. England, France. I mean, another great classic matchup. Both teams playing really well. I think France has been the most impressive team to watch so far at the tournament. I don't know how they're going to track Mbappe. I do give a slight edge to France.
Well, the only reason that I'm going to, France should win this. England hasn't allowed a goal in 3 matches. The first match was 6-2 against Iran. And whatever, that's fine. I think the 2 goals even came after, like, we didn't care at that point. So it's just going to be England's stingy defense, and I can't wait for England 3 Lions Twitter to lose their minds when Gareth comes out with John Stones, Maguire, probably Kyle Walker as the 3rd center back, with maybe Trippier and Luke Shaw on the other side.
They've back 5.
Yeah. They've got to do something against Mbappe, though. Like, and Dembele too. Like, they can't do, like, in terms of attacking talent, this is basically going to be France attacking versus England defending. You want to know what? Fuck it, I'm going England. I'm going
with
England.
his heart. I'd say
I'm going with my heart. This is completely. I'm going to feel like an asshole in 2 weeks when we come back.
3-1 France. And France, my second team. I'm not as fervent second team fan as you are.
Yeah.
But I did live in France for a little while as a kid.
Right, yeah.
And my only professional game I've attended in Europe was in France. So, allez le bleu.
Yeah.
Croatia, Brazil. I don't see Croatia having a hope in hell in this one.
Listen, you can do what they did against Croatia did against Korea today, or sorry, Japan, and you can do what they did against France. We're not going to be able to do that against. You're not going to be able to do that against Brazil because they have too much talent, man. And like Neymar, we didn't even mention that Neymar was out for the last 2 group stages games. Came back today. Look like
fine.
Neymar. Yeah, look fine. So I'm gonna go Brazil. I'm gonna go just because Croatia's stubborn. I'm gonna go 2-0.
Yeah, I think I'd like 4-1.
No.
I don't think that,
Actually, you want to know what? I'll go 3-1.
Yep. So that's all we got for our group stage and round of 16 roundup so far. We're going to be back for a wrap up in a couple of weeks, the day after the final. So we will do a big World Cup wrap.
Wait 1 sec before we go though.
Yep.
Who do you think's going to win it all? Are you sticking with Argentina?
I'm switching to France.
You're switching to France?
I picked Argentina before. A heart pick. I mean, I'm a Barcelona fan.
You're a Messi, yeah.
I want Messi to win. Of France, England, Brazil, Argentina, I think they're the 4th best team of those 4 teams.
Oh, you put England over. Oh, okay.
I think so. So I think at this point, if I had to handicap it based on what I've watched so far, I think I have France winning.
France is just a machine, and I get I have Argentina as well. I'm sticking with them, but if I had to relay money on it, I would probably put France because France is just a machine from front to back. We didn't even talk about Varane coming back and being awesome. Hugo Lloris just still scares the hell out of me. But
Yep.
I think if you put France and Argentina on the same pitch, I think France smokes their boots.
Yep.
Yeah.
Couple news and notes on the Canadian front. Some great moves for our lads heading across the pond. 2 Montreal CF players will now be suiting up in Europe. Alistair Johnston, in the British Isles, I should say.
Yeah.
Alistair Johnston is going to Celtic.
Yeah, take it.
And so he will compete with American international Cameron Carter-Vickers for that fullback spot.
Oh, right, yeah.
At Celtic. So a great move for this is the perfect place for him.
Yeah.
On his development, he's in his early 20s. If he performs well at Celtic, that he'll get Champions League football at Celtic, which is also invaluable for him at this stage.
Yep.
And if he performs well, maybe earn a move to maybe a mid-tier Premier League team or a team on, Germany or Spain or something.
Yep.
So I think this is a perfect move. And hopefully we get to see him in the green and white hoops of Celtic and getting some regular minutes in the SPL.
Shit, he might even if they end up he ends up getting some regular minutes, he might even end up in the Champions League. Because I'm assuming that
they hit Champions League every single year.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's either them or Rain. Well, it's Stevie G's left.
I think they get 2 teams in from Scotland, so they're in every year.
Okay, so no, and that's great. And on the other side, we got Ismael Koné, born in Ivory Coast, but born and raised in Montreal, played for FC or CF Montreal, is now going to Watford, who is in they're in the championship.
Yep, second tier. Yep.
But Watford has been. When was the last time they were in the league? 2 years ago?
I think last season.
Or was it last
season?
season? Oh yes, because we shout on Watford all season long.
They're a yo-yo team. Right?
Yeah.
They're like my Norwich City boys. They are one year in championship, 1 year in Premier, and again, I think for someone his age,
20 years old,
a perfect place for him to develop if he gets minutes there.
Yep.
And Watford will be pushing for promotion. I think that's their goal.
Yep.
And if he shows out in Watford colors, more eyes on him too. That's the thing. Lots of scouts watch the championship, especially teams on the continent too, Bundesliga teams and La Liga teams and Serie A teams regularly take talent from the championship to fill out their ranks. So I think this makes perfect sense for Koné, and he is a player, a complete player, good in the tackle as well as the pass through the line. So I think it's a great spot for him.
Well, it's a great spot.
could go to Udinese.
I was just gonna say, like, he can go to like one of the 90 clubs that the Pozzos own. But yeah, man, it's a great spot. And again, like, just Canadian soccer, like, this is how the best players get better. You go to leagues. Like, you know, stop throwing out MLS team or MLS players in the World Cup and in these tournaments thinking that shit is good. That shit is not going to get you. It's fine when we're playing the CONCACAF Gold Cup or whatever it's called. It's fine when you're doing that. But if we're playing like we just showed in the World Cup, man, like it's a different level. So the more guys that we have playing in top, and I know that they're not top 5 leagues, but this is a step. They're going to Celtic. Next thing you know, maybe they end up on West Ham. They're going to Watford. Maybe he opens some eyes. Maybe he ends up at Udinese playing in Serie A. Maybe he ends up on, like, I don't know, Bournemouth, who finished in like 15th and want to try to make us like it's great for Canadian soccer.
Yep.
Yeah.
And one more note, we have a Wanderers Corner edition on this episode of the False Nine. We want to welcome our new gaffer.
Yes.
We have our new hire is Patrice Gheisar, who has for a long time been the coach of Vaughan, just outside of Toronto in Ontario's top league, and has fostered many top Canadian talents through that program, including the just mentioned Alistair Johnston, who had some great things to say about the appointment. So I think this is a great move. I've heard nothing but good things. I'm not going to pretend like I have seen his tactical setup at Vaughan.
No.
But from what I hear from all of the many top-level Canadian players who have played for him over the years, sounds like a great appointment.
See, I'm trying to think because he was the manager of the Vaughan team that we beat. Actually, Vaughan beat us 1-0 in Halifax in the second leg, but we beat them at Vaughan in the first leg, so we actually went through. I'm trying to remember if I went to that game. I feel like we did.
I feel like maybe we did.
I feel like we did.
So we maybe saw him.
So
on
we
the
maybe saw him.
touchline, yeah.
But he apparently is excited, and yeah, Alistair Johnston had nothing but good things to say about him. And like I did like he was the coach of the year in League One Ontario. Which look. It's not the CPL, but it's probably
the league below.
It's
that.
League below the CPL.
Canada, yeah.
And like man, it's good. And again, like the team just needs some direction. Like just needed a new voice, and it seems like he's the guy to do it. And you know, once we get Morelli back, hopefully he comes back. I follow him on Instagram, and he seems like he's healthy. So yeah, man, let's go. I'm ready for was it in May?
Yeah, let's get it going. And welcome, Patrice Gheisar.
Well, welcome, Patrice. Yes, sir.
So, yes, that's all we got for this week. Join us in 2 weeks. We will be back the day after the World Cup final to put a bow on the World Cup and maybe preview the Boxing Day matches in the Premier League.
Well, whoever's left is playing.
Yeah, whoever's healthy and whatever from the World Cup.
Yeah.
So for the False Nine, I'm Mike Vesey.
I'm Neil Jordan.
Peace. All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning into the False Nine. We will see you next time. Be sure to give us a like and subscribe on our YouTube channel and give us a follow on Instagram, and we will see you next time.